number 9, public comment on items not on this agenda. It is the council's policy to refer matters raised in this forum to staff for investigation and interaction where appropriate. The Brown Act prohibits the council from discussing or acting upon any matter not agendized pursuant to state law. Would anyone like to address the council under public comment? Please tell us your name and your street.
City Council, good evening. Russell Steins, Reed Avenue. I come here tonight in hopes you hear me, here for all my neighbors, you guys all being one of. We have a big parking problem here in San Bruno. And with so many new buildings being proposed in San Bruno, I'm asking you guys to protect the interests of the current residents, quality of our life. It's deteriorating with the more traffic and fewer parking spots and loss of sense of community. I'm asking you not to make matters worse in the future. San Bruno now has a parking committee, and you guys, a couple of you are on there, and we're studying to get parking permits. I think that's a great idea. So I'm sharing the following request with you guys. I ask you guys to amend Municipal Code 724 for oversized vehicles so the police can enforce it. I ask you guys to take a look at the current formula in the TCP. It is extremely deficient. The parking is extremely deficient. I believe with all the new building going on here, we should adopt a new ordinance that all buildings be parking self-contained. One other thought, perhaps we could come up with some kind of incentive for existing businesses here to open up their parking at night, maybe give them a break on their business licenses or business taxes here so we can get some residents, get some parking for some residents that absolutely need it here. I would like this to remain a city, the big city with to remain a small city with the big heart. So I thank you guys kindly, but we really do have a big parking problem here, and we need to figure out solutions to solve it. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Next.
Ryan Mersney, Keynes Avenue. On July 5th, I personally delivered individual letters on 2 subject matters to each individual member of the TSPC. I also included copies for members of staff. I sent an electronic copy to the city clerk to be distributed to the members of the TSPC. As of today, I have heard nothing, not even acknowledging receipt of the letters. Since the topic of one of the letters to the TSPC pertained to the Bike and Pet Committee, I personally hand-delivered a copy of one of the letters to each Bike and Pet Committee member later that week, with extra copies for staff. Over a month later, I have heard nothing. Over a month ago, I hand-delivered copies of a letter pertaining to suggestions improving the dog park to the city clerk's office. The letters were individually addressed to each member of the Park and Rec Commissioners. I also sent an electronic copy to the city clerk to be distributed. I still have heard nothing. Then I did hear what I'm hoping is an unfounded rumor, that my letters were intercepted by city staff or city management and not delivered to the people they were addressed to. I'm asking tonight publicly, were my letters blocked, and if so, what was the legal basis for doing so? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Reina Burgos from 293 Flora. I echo what Russell mentioned about the oversized vehicles. On Florida and Taylor, we have a resident that parks the school bus. Of course, it's like we already have trouble finding parking, and this neighbor basically is able to park the school bus.
Let me interrupt you just real quickly.
Sure.
Public comment for items not on the agenda, and the oversized vehicles are on the agenda this evening, so we're going to be discussing all of this.
Oh, you'll be discussing.
Yes.
Okay, so not in the agenda will be. Then thank you so much for letting me know. Another thing is I want to know where can we do to improve the east side on blocking the sidewalks. It is every single morning, and I'm the one calling the police department all the time in the morning and in the evening, because in the morning I see me walking Bruno and Bowie, and also I see mothers with the strollers walking the kids to school. They have to actually go to the street. I think that neighbors don't think how that will have an impact on people walking on the street, on the sidewalks. It's all about me, me, me. It's anyway, and I feel like I don't want to be calling every single morning 5, 6 calls to the police station. How can we remedy this? I want something being done because this needs to be resolved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sandra Perez Vargas. I'm on the 200 block of Mastic Avenue. I also want to address what Reina is talking about. I don't think we're working very efficiently. I don't see why the police need to be called every single day on the same situations. I think if cars or trucks or there's code enforcement, if you go out and issue a citation, I think it should be a very serious citation, maybe with fines. I don't believe it's a good time of code enforcement or police to go back to the same locations again and again. It's not smart and it's not cost effective. I also was wondering about the tree cutting job. I heard that might be eliminated and outsourced. I think that really seriously needs to be looked at. We have some very good employees working here doing those jobs. And to shift it to someone
That's
outside
also
the
on the
city.
agenda,
Is
right?
it? Okay, then I'll pass that. So I will go back to the 4th of July on my street at 200 Mastic Avenue when a party was allowed to blow out to 50 some odd people fist fighting and urinating in the street, which wasn't closed down. It went on all hours of the night. It's interesting that it received very little response and went out of control. A few weeks ago, after a neighborhood watch, someone called the police because there was an altercation between two neighbors, I believe. And as far as I know, there were no weapons, no blows, only one windshield wiper was pulled off a car, yet that warranted 11 police cars and a fire truck. I'm having trouble with this. I don't understand it. And they didn't just come in and look around. One car, 2 cars, that could have gotten under control. But that for over a half hour, about 11 cars were sitting on my block when I begged on 4th of July to get assistance. It just seems like something is very off with this city. This is in New York. This is Little San Bruno. I think we really need to sit down and re-examine it. And hopefully, with the new elections, and unfortunately my husband, Stephen Seymour, will not be running for council. He was called out of town because his mother's ill. But I'm hoping that whoever's running really doesn't just listen to the residents, but does something for the residents. Don't tell us what you can't do. Tell us what you're willing to do for us. I will get behind anybody who can do that, but somebody who over and over tells me we can't do this, because of that, it's not working. My neighborhood is falling apart, completely falling apart. It's unsafe. People park wherever they want. People in wheelchairs have no ADA access on most ramps, and it just seems like we really, really look closely at what's going on in our city. It's not good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Wendy Amrose. I live on San Anselmo Avenue North. I'm actually the exact end of the block opposite the park, and it's parking. A situation that has become dreadfully apparent to me is the number of cars registered to one address more than the parking of that address will allow. I have a couple of neighbors. One has 5 cars, 1 driver. One has 4 cars, 2 drivers, and a family member that comes and visits every single day. The parking there is so bad, and I propose that we try to figure something out about a relationship of the property and the parking allowed on the property. And if you have additional vehicles, there has to be something done, some additional fee or something. I got into it with this gal because she didn't want me to park in that 20 feet, 18 feet right in front of her house. I'm a block and a quarter from my house. A block and a quarter. So it's just like, I'm just going crazy. And then there's another neighbor that has a truck that doesn't run. It's a neighbor. You don't want to call on the neighbor. But it's a truck that doesn't run in a prime parking place, not down by the park, right in front of my house. And I've lived here 13 years. I bought my place 13 years ago, and it's absolutely extraordinary how difficult it is to park. And I work late. I come home at 11, 11:30. I haul stuff. The street lights aren't adequate, but that's not why I'm here. It's really the parking. And something I would suggest is, could we just line out the sizes of the spots? People don't know how to park here. They're not like from the city where you only keep so many inches in front and behind so that when cars leave, it leaves more space. So I would like to see if maybe we could mark out spots, and I would like to see if there might be some way to investigate multiple cars to one address without adequate parking.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Hi there, I'm Nick Lopez from Mastic Avenue. I was originally here for the 724 issue, but hearing this parade of other items, I want to propose a possible solution, and I actually attribute it to the police department that originally directed us. I have a back fence neighbor, has barking dogs, we've exchanged words, we've squirted hoses at each other. We had a really good time of it here. We went to the police department, they directed us to mediation. We sat down, spent 2 or 3 hours getting to know each other's issues, and we haven't had a crossword since. You know, parking's gonna come up. There's differences of opinion on safety, loss of parking, aesthetics, various frustrations. I think a lot of this can be resolved by mediation. I think it's very effective. I think it worked for me, and I'm pretty stubborn. So I'd like to offer that back, and I want to thank the police department for their previous service on this.
All right, thank you. Anyone else under public comment?